Welcome to Real Lewis Carter Podcast. Throughout our podcast journey, we will venture beyond the boundaries of time and space, weaving together the threads of storytelling, history, astronomy, and multilingualism to create a rich tapestry of knowledge and inspiration. So, grab your headphones, settle in, and prepare to embark on an unforgettable voyage through the cosmos of the human experience. The Spanish Empire. The Spanish Empire, one of the largest empires in history, had a profound impact on global politics, economics, and culture. Emerging in the late 15th century, it reached its peak in the 16th and early 17th centuries. The Spanish Empire was born out of the marriage of Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile, known as the Catholic monarchs, who unified Spain in 1479. Through a series of conquests, treaties, and expeditions, Spain came to control vast territories in Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The early exploration and colonization efforts of the Spanish Empire, particularly under the sponsorship of Queen Isabella, led to the discovery of the New World by Christopher Columbus in 1492. This event marked the beginning of the Spanish conquest and colonization of the Americas. Spanish conquistadors such as Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro played pivotal roles in the subjugation of indigenous civilizations in the Americas, most notably the Aztec and Inca empires. By the early 16th century, Spain had established itself as a dominant power in Europe, thanks to its vast wealth acquired from the colonies, particularly in gold and silver. The Spanish Empire reached its height under King Charles V, who inherited an empire that included territories in Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The Spanish Empire implemented a system known as the casta system in the American colonies, which classified individuals by their racial background and determined their social status and rights. The empire also enforced the encomienda system, a form of forced labor that exploited indigenous populations for economic gain. Spain's dominance in Europe and the Americas faced challenges from other European powers, particularly England, France, and the Netherlands. The defeat of the Spanish Armada by the English in 1588 marked a turning point in the decline of Spanish naval power and marked the beginning of the Spanish Empire's gradual decline. The 17th century saw the Spanish Empire struggle with economic decline, inflation, corruption, and internal revolts, such as the Revolt of the Comuneros in Castile and the Revolt of the Catalans in Catalonia. The Treaty of Utrecht in 1713 marked the end of the War of the Spanish Succession and led to the gradual disintegration of the Spanish Empire. By the 19th century, Spain had lost most of its American colonies due to independence movements inspired by the ideals of the Enlightenment and the American and French revolutions. The Spanish-American Wars of Independence led to the independence of countries such as Mexico, Peru, and Argentina. In conclusion, the Spanish Empire was a major force in shaping global history during the early modern period. Its conquests, colonization efforts, and exploitation of resources had far-reaching consequences for the peoples of the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Though the empire eventually declined and lost much of its power and influence, its legacy continues to be felt in the cultures, languages, and economies of the countries it once ruled. As the 19th century progressed, Spain faced internal turmoil, political instability, and military defeats that further weakened its empire. The loss of its American colonies dealt a significant blow to Spain's economic and political power. The Spanish-American War of 1898 resulted in the United States acquiring Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines from Spain, further shrinking its imperial holdings. Despite these setbacks, Spain still retained territories in Africa and the Pacific. The Spanish Empire's presence in Africa was concentrated in territories such as Equatorial Guinea, Western Sahara, and Spanish Morocco. In the Pacific, Spain held the Philippines, Guam, and other smaller islands. The early 20th century marked a period of significant change for Spain. The Spanish-American War's aftermath, combined with social and political pressures at home, led to the rise of Republican sentiment and calls for reform. The Spanish monarchy was overthrown in 1931, and the Second Spanish Republic was established. However, the Republic faced internal divisions, economic challenges, and social unrest. The Spanish Civil War erupted in 1936, pitting Republicans against nationalists led by General Francisco Franco. The nationalists emerged victorious in 1939, and Franco established a dictatorial regime that lasted until his death in 1975. Under Franco's rule, Spain experienced a period of isolation from the international community due to its authoritarian government and human rights abuses. Despite this, Spain maintained its overseas territories in Africa and the Pacific, although pressures for decolonization were increasing globally. In the mid-20th century, colonial movements and the wave of decolonization sweeping across Africa and Asia also affected the Spanish Empire. Pressure for independence grew in territories such as Spanish Sahara and Equatorial Guinea. In 1968, Equatorial Guinea became the first Spanish colony in Africa to gain independence. Spanish Sahara, however, remained a contentious issue. In 1975, following Franco's death, Spain agreed to decolonize the territory, leading to a conflict between Morocco, Mauritania, and the Polisario Front, representing the indigenous Sahrawi people. The Western Sahara conflict remains unresolved to this day. The transition to democracy in Spain after Franco's death brought new challenges to the remaining Spanish territories. In the early 1980s, Spain initiated the decolonization process for its remaining territories in Africa, granting independence to Western Sahara and allowing for the self-determination of the Sahrawi people. By the late 20th century, Spain had fully transitioned to a democratic constitutional monarchy and focused on European integration and economic development. The Treaty of Lisbon in 1986 paved the way for Spain's accession to the European Community, now the European Union, solidifying its place within the European political and economic framework. In the 21st century, Spain continues to navigate the complexities of a post-colonial world and grapple with issues related to its historical legacy, including demands for reparations and acknowledgement of past injustices in its former colonies. The legacy of the Spanish Empire endures in the cultural diversity, languages, and traditions of countries that were once part of its vast holdings. In conclusion, the Spanish Empire's history is a complex tapestry of conquest, colonization, decline, and adaptation to changing global circumstances. Its impact on the world continues to be felt today, shaping the identities and histories of nations across Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The Spanish Empire's influence extended beyond political and economic realms to leave a lasting imprint on culture, language, and society. The Spanish language, for instance, spread widely throughout the Americas and remains a major global language today, spoken by millions of people worldwide. Spanish culture, including art, literature, music, and cuisine, also left a significant mark on the regions formerly under Spanish control. The Spanish Empire's colonization efforts profoundly affected the indigenous populations of the Americas, leading to the disruption of traditional ways of life, the spread of disease, and the imposition of new social, political, and religious structures. The legacy of this colonization is still evident in issues such as land rights, cultural preservation, and societal inequalities faced by indigenous communities. Spain's interaction with other cultures through trade and exploration also enriched its own society. The influx of wealth from the Americas fueled Spain's golden age in the 16th and 17th centuries, marked by flourishing arts, literature, and architecture. Iconic figures such as Miguel de Cervantes, Diego Velázquez, and El Greco emerged during this period, leaving a lasting legacy in Spanish and world culture. The Spanish Empire's religious influence was also profound, with the spread of Catholicism playing a central role in the colonization and conversion of indigenous peoples. The establishment of missions, churches, and religious orders in the Americas helped shape the spiritual landscape of the region and left a lasting imprint on religious practices and beliefs. In addition to cultural and religious impacts, the Spanish Empire's economic legacy is still visible today. The influx of silver and gold from the Americas fueled Spain's economy and positioned it as a major player in global trade networks. The establishment of trade routes, ports, and colonies facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies between Europe and the Americas. However, the Spanish Empire's economic success was also accompanied by exploitation and inequality. The system of forced labor, encomienda, and slavery employed in the colonies enriched the Spanish crown and nobility but came at a high human cost for indigenous and enslaved peoples. The consequences of these economic practices continue to reverberate in issues of social justice, economic inequality, and labor rights. As Spain transitioned from an imperial power to a modern democratic state in the 20th century, it confronted its colonial past and sought to address historical injustices through initiatives such as cultural exchange programs, educational partnerships, and development aid to former colonies. The Spanish government has also supported efforts to preserve and promote the cultural heritage of indigenous and marginalized communities affected by colonialism. In the 21st century, Spain faces new challenges related to globalization, migration, and environmental sustainability, while continuing to grapple with the legacy of its imperial past. Discussions around historical memory, reparations for past injustices, and reconciliation with descendant communities remain ongoing as Spain seeks to reckon with its complex colonial heritage. In conclusion, the Spanish Empire's impact on world history is vast and multifaceted, shaping the destinies of nations and peoples across the globe. From the conquest of the Americas to the decolonization of Africa, the Spanish Empire's legacy is a crucial part of understanding the interconnected history of our modern world and the ongoing complexities of post-colonial societies. Stay tuned for more. We will be right back. One significant aspect of the Spanish Empire's legacy is its architectural influence. Spanish colonial architecture can be seen in many former colonies, characterized by a blend of European, indigenous, and Moorish styles. Iconic structures such as cathedrals, palaces, fortresses, and town squares reflect the cultural fusion that occurred during the colonial period. These architectural marvels serve as tangible reminders of Spain's colonial past and continue to attract tourists and scholars interested in studying the empire's influence on urban planning and design. The Spanish Empire's legacy also extends to the realm of law and governance. Spanish legal traditions, including civil law systems and administrative structures, were transplanted to its colonies, shaping the legal frameworks of many Latin American countries. The Spanish legal legacy continues to influence judicial systems, constitutional frameworks, and property rights in former colonies, reflecting the enduring impact of colonial rule on the legal institutions of these nations. Moreover, the Spanish Empire played a crucial role in disseminating knowledge and scientific advancements during the Age of Discovery. Spanish explorers, scientists, and scholars contributed to the exchange of ideas, technologies, and botanical specimens between Europe and the Americas. The transfer of crops such as potatoes, tomatoes, corn, and cacao from the Americas to Europe transformed global cuisines and agricultural practices, illustrating the lasting impact of the Columbian exchange initiated by Spain's colonial ventures. In the field of literature and culture, the Spanish Empire's legacy is evident in the rich literary traditions and artistic expressions that emerged in its colonies. Influential writers such as Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Octavio Paz, and Pablo Neruda drew inspiration from their country's colonial past to produce works that reflect the complexities of identity, history, and resistance in post-colonial Latin America. The blending of European and indigenous cultural elements in literature, music, and art continues to shape contemporary artistic production and cultural identities in former Spanish colonies. Furthermore, the Spanish Empire's legacy includes contributions to global maritime navigation, cartography, and exploration. Spanish explorers such as Christopher Columbus, Ferdinand Magellan, and Hernán Cortés expanded European knowledge of the world through their voyages and conquests, opening new trade routes and connections between continents. The legacy of Spanish exploration is evident in the mapping of new territories, the discovery of oceanic currents, and the exchange of goods and ideas that transformed the global economy and connected distant regions of the world. In the realm of linguistics and language, the Spanish Empire's influence is apparent in the widespread spread of the Spanish language across the Americas and beyond. Spanish is now one of the most spoken languages in the world, with over 460 million native speakers and millions more learning it as a second language. The Spanish language serves as a unifying force among diverse cultures and societies, facilitating communication and cultural exchange across borders. In conclusion, the enduring legacy of the Spanish Empire encompasses a vast array of cultural, architectural, legal, scientific, and linguistic contributions that continue to shape the modern world. From colonial architecture to legal systems, from literary traditions to scientific discoveries, the legacy of the Spanish Empire is a testament to the interconnectedness of global history and the enduring impact of colonialism on contemporary societies. Understanding and engaging with this complex legacy is essential for grappling with the challenges of post-colonialism, fostering intercultural dialogue, and promoting mutual understanding among nations and peoples with shared histories shaped by the Spanish Empire. One key aspect of the Spanish Empire's legacy lies in the realm of religion. The Catholic Church played a central role in Spanish colonialism, serving as a tool for the spread of Christianity and the consolidation of power in the new territories. Missionaries, priests, and religious orders established churches, schools, and monasteries across the colonies, shaping religious practices and beliefs among indigenous populations. The enduring influence of Catholicism can be seen in the religious rituals, festivals, and iconography that continue to permeate the cultural landscape of former Spanish colonies, contributing to the religious diversity and syncretic traditions of these regions. Moreover, the Spanish Empire's legacy includes significant contributions to the arts and architecture of Europe. Spanish painters such as Diego Velázquez, Francisco Goya, and El Greco, as well as architects like Antoni Gaudí, left a lasting mark on Western art and culture. Artistic movements such as the Spanish Golden Age, Baroque, and Modernism showcased Spain's unique artistic sensibilities and cultural heritage, influencing subsequent generations of artists and shaping aesthetic trends in Europe and beyond. The legacy of the Spanish Empire also extends to the economic sphere, as Spain's colonial enterprises laid the groundwork for the development of global trade networks and mercantile capitalism. Spanish conquistadors and traders sought riches in the Americas, leading to the exploitation of natural resources, the establishment of trade routes, and the emergence of global markets. The extraction of wealth from the colonies fueled Spain's economic prosperity and global influence, setting a precedent for colonial powers seeking to exploit overseas territories for economic gain. Furthermore, the Spanish Empire's legacy includes its impact on the indigenous populations of the Americas. The encounter between Spanish colonizers and Native Americans led to profound social, cultural, and demographic changes, including the spread of diseases, forced labor, and cultural assimilation. The legacy of colonialism continues to shape indigenous communities' struggles for recognition, land rights, and cultural preservation in the face of historical trauma and ongoing inequalities resulting from centuries of colonization. The legacy of the Spanish Empire also encompasses political developments that shaped the modern nation-states of Latin America. The struggle for independence from Spanish colonial rule in the 19th century led to the formation of new republics and the emergence of national identities rooted in shared histories of resistance and liberation. The legacy of independence movements continues to inspire political activism, social movements, and debates over sovereignty, democracy, and cultural heritage in Latin American countries today. In conclusion, the enduring legacy of the Spanish Empire is a multifaceted and complex phenomenon that encompasses a wide range of historical, cultural, economic, and social dimensions. From religion and art to economics and politics, the legacy of Spanish colonialism continues to influence the modern world and shape the identities of nations and peoples with shared histories of colonization. Understanding and grappling with this legacy is essential for fostering dialogue, reconciliation, and solidarity among diverse communities and promoting a more inclusive and equitable future for all those affected by the legacies of empire. One crucial dimension of the Spanish Empire's legacy is its influence on social structures and racial dynamics in former colonies. The legacy of Spanish colonialism includes the establishment of hierarchical social systems based on race, ethnicity, and class, with enduring consequences for social inequalities and discrimination. The legacy of colonialism continues to shape power relations, social identities, and notions of belonging in societies where historical patterns of exclusion and marginalization persist, calling attention to the legacies of racism and discrimination rooted in the colonial past. Additionally, the Spanish Empire's legacy includes the enduring impact of colonial violence, including conquest, exploitation, and oppression, on indigenous populations and communities. The legacy of violence and trauma inflicted during the colonial era continues to resonate in the collective memories, cultural narratives, and struggles for justice and recognition among indigenous peoples in former Spanish colonies. The intergenerational trauma resulting from historical injustices underscores the urgent need for truth, reconciliation, and reparations to address the enduring legacies of violence and dispossession that continue to impact indigenous communities today. Furthermore, the Spanish Empire's legacy encompasses environmental transformations and ecological consequences resulting from centuries of colonial exploitation and resource extraction. The legacy of colonialism includes deforestation, soil degradation, pollution, and climate change exacerbated by unsustainable practices and extractive industries introduced by colonial powers. The legacy of environmental degradation underscores the interconnectedness of social, economic, and ecological systems, highlighting the imperative of sustainable development, conservation, and environmental justice to address the environmental legacies of colonialism and promote a more resilient and equitable future for all. Moreover, the Spanish Empire's legacy includes the enduring impact of colonial borders, boundaries, and divisions on political landscapes and identities in former colonies. The legacy of colonialism includes the imposition of artificial borders, territorial disputes, and ethnic tensions that continue to shape political conflicts, nationalist movements, and territorial claims in regions where historical colonial legacies intersect with contemporary geopolitical challenges. The legacy of colonial borders underscores the complexities of identity, sovereignty, and self-determination in regions grappling with the enduring legacies of colonialism and struggling to forge inclusive and equitable political structures that address historical injustices and respect diverse cultural identities. In conclusion, the enduring legacy of the Spanish Empire is a multifaceted and complex phenomenon that encompasses a wide array of historical, social, environmental, and political dimensions. From social inequalities and racial dynamics to environmental transformations and political conflicts, the enduring legacies of colonialism continue to shape the modern world and challenge societies to confront historical injustices, promote inclusive and equitable futures, and build resilient communities grounded in solidarity, justice, and reconciliation. Understanding and engaging with the enduring legacies of the Spanish Empire is essential for fostering dialogue, empathy, and transformative action to address the complex legacies of colonialism and promote a more just and sustainable world for all. We appreciate your support. Tune in for fresh episodes every week. Let's keep the conversation going. Join our community, subscribe, and grow with us.